Michael didn't speak much at school, and that wasn't because he had nothing to say. It was because no one ever really listened. But that morning, everything about him felt different. You felt it too, didn't you? That heaviness in the air when he walked into the hallway, like static before a lightning strike. You might have thought it was just another regular Monday, kids pretending not to care, teachers sipping bitter coffee, and lockers slamming in rhythmic indifference. But, no, something was off. Something was wrong in a way no one could name. That's when it happened, right there, in front of everyone. That smug, hollow-hearted bully, Tyler Reynolds, the same one who thought cruelty made him powerful, swung his arm back and smacked the wrong girl. Not just any girl. Her. The one nobody dared look at too long. The one the hallways always seemed to curve away from. The one who never blinked too long or smiled too wide. She didn't fall, she didn't cry, she didn't even flinch. She just looked at him, calm as death, and whispered something that made Tyler go completely still, as if someone had unplugged his soul mid-sentence. And that's when everything split. You saw it too, right? How the light around her shifted, slightly, how the sound in the hallway didn't echo for a moment, how Tyler's friends kept laughing until they realized he wasn't laughing back, until they realized he wasn't breathing. Then came the scream. Not hers, not his, but from somewhere deep in the building, a voice that sounded like it. Came through a landline soaked in static and time. That's when I knew we'd all just stumbled into something we weren't meant to see. Like opening an old file on your laptop and finding a photo of yourself asleep, taken from the outside of your window. Like hearing your dead grandmother's voice whispering your full name through your AirPods when no one else is around. This wasn't just some viral hallway altercation. This was something ancient. Tyler vanished, right there in front of everyone. No flash, no blood, no smoke, just gone. And not one person could remember what she said except for me. Except for you, because you're here now. And maybe you feel it too. The chill under your skin. The way your screen just flickered like something is watching from inside the pixels. You should have never seen this, but now you have. And nothing in your world will ever fit the same way again. Because tonight you'll dream about her eyes. And when you wake up, your phone will light up with a single message from a number that doesn't exist, whispering the very words she said. Words that will make your walls breathe, and your memories unravel. And just when you think it can't get worse, you'll hear the voice of someone you buried years ago. Calling your name from the other side of your mirror. The message blinked on your screen again, that same whisper like a thread unraveling inside your mind. But just as you reached to replay it, the audio glitched, warped and fractured like your phone was scrambling to hold on to something slipping through cracks no one's supposed to see. You swear you hear a faint breathing beneath the static, a sound too deliberate, too close to be accidental. But when you ask your friends, they look at you like you're losing your grip, like the reality you think you witnessed might be nothing, more than a fractured reflection of something buried deep inside your own head. The truth behind what no one tells you is that memories are slippery, unreliable, and sometimes mercilessly rewritten by the mind's own dark machinery. You find yourself scanning your phone's gallery, scrolling back through that day's photos, desperate for proof. But every single picture you took, every frame that should have caught Tyler's face, that girl's calm eyes, even Michael standing there like a shadow on the edge of collapse, is somehow missing, like they never existed. That's when Emma shows up, late, breathing heavy, eyes wide with a kind of panic that feels rehearsed. As if she's been waiting for this moment but hoping you wouldn't be the one to crack first. Emma, who was there that day but insists she never saw the girl anyone's been talking about, or the moment Tyler disappeared. She says it's all in your head, maybe stress, maybe something you swallowed wrong. But her voice doesn't quite match her smile. There's something brittle beneath, a hesitation like she's guarding a secret she can't quite admit. She pulls out her phone, eager to prove you wrong. But the videos she saved don't line up with your memories either. The clips are fuzzy, out of sync, voices overlapping with laughter where you remember silence. You ask her if she's sure about what she saw, and her answer is a sharp, almost painful, "I don't know anymore." Because what they don't want you to remember isn't just about the girl or Tyler. It's about how easily your mind becomes the real unsolved mystery, how it fractures under pressure, feeding you images that may or may not belong to you. Night settles heavy around you, and the silence is suddenly thick with something unseen, a presence hovering just beyond the edge of sight. You try to shake it off, but every reflection feels wrong. Elongated shadows twist where there shouldn't be any, and the hum of electronics vibrates low and cruel. You catch yourself glancing over your shoulder, heart hammering, wondering if this is the beginning of something breaking loose inside your brain, or if somehow the world itself is bending in ways you weren't ready to understand. The line between mental breakdown and supernatural interference blurs, leaving you stranded in the middle of a storm you can't name, chasing a truth you fear you might never grasp. And in the quiet moments between each heartbeat, you wonder, did Michael ever really stand there? Did Tyler vanish, or was he swallowed by the darkest corners of your own forgotten fears? The only thing certain is that the question haunting you now is not what happened that day, but what you'll do the next time the phone lights up with a message you don't want to read, because that's when the real nightmare will begin, son. Moment. You let yourself believe you're finally untangling the web, like the fog that's haunted you since that day is lifting, revealing a hidden truth just within reach. It started when you found that old box in your attic, the one you never thought to open until last night, pulled by some stubborn thread of intuition you couldn't shake. Inside, beneath layers of dust and brittle paper, you uncovered faded photographs of a school hallway, same lockers, same cracked tile floor, even that same flickering fluorescent light that buzzed in the background like a bad dream. But what caught your breath was the image of a girl who looked just like her, standing alone, eyes empty, expression unreadable. Next to her, a boy, same face as Tyler Reynolds, caught mid-shout, frozen in the exact moment before a fist would connect. Except this photo was dated 30 years ago. A shiver crawled down your spine as you pieced it together, the past bleeding into the present in ways you'd only begun to suspect. You dug deeper, finding a brittle newspaper clipping folded inside the box, yellowed with age but its headline, burned into your mind. Local student disappears after hallway altercation. You read the details, heart pounding because it mirrored everything you thought you saw, down to the whispered words no one else caught. The sudden silence, the vanishing boy. It was like a glitch in the timeline, a memory repeating itself. Or worse, a curse looping silently beneath the surface of your town's collective memory. You wanted to scream, to call someone, to scream that you weren't crazy. They lied to you all along. But just as you were about to feel the relief of solving the mystery, something inside the box made you freeze. A small cracked cassette tape labeled simply, "Don't Forget," slipped from between the pages. You hesitated before pressing play, the static giving way to a voice, whispered, trembling, unbearably close. It wasn't Michael, it wasn't Tyler, and it wasn't the girl. It was something else, something old, something watching. The voice spoke a name you didn't recognize, but the dread it carried was immediate, visceral, like it reached through the speaker and gripped your throat. Then, a sudden, piercing silence, and when the tape ended, your room felt colder, heavier, as if the shadows had thickened, watching you with a patience that stretched beyond time. That's when you realized this was never just about a missing boy or a schoolyard fight. This was a force, deep and personal, lurking in the cracks of memory and reality, feeding on forgotten fears and silent screams. It had been there from the beginning, waiting for you to look closer. And now, as you sit back, heart racing, trying to steady your breath, the walls seem to pulse faintly, the light flickers again, and something in the corner of your eye moves just a fraction too, quick to be human. You want to tell yourself this is just your mind playing tricks, but the truth is already sinking in like ice. You have to watch it all again. Because every glance, every sound, every detail you thought you understood suddenly feels like a lie. You told yourself to stay sane. This isn't just a story to follow. It's a nightmare you're trapped inside. And somewhere in that tangled web of faces, voices, and shadows, the real truth is still waiting. Hidden, waiting to unmake everything. You thought you knew. There is a weight that settles when you realize you are not alone in this. You weren't supposed to be the only one touched by what happened that day, by the shattering silence after Tyler disappeared, or by the whispering voice that lingers long after the screen goes dark. Others are watching, waiting in shadows you've never seen, connected by a thread that only the most fractured minds dare to follow. You feel it, the subtle pull, the pulse beneath the surface, like a hidden current carrying messages meant for no one but you. Cryptic symbols have started appearing in places you never imagined would hold secrets. Graffiti on abandoned walls, faint scratches etched into school desks, static bursts on late-night television that vanish when you blink. You don't just see these signs. You understand them in a way that scares you, as if your brain is unraveling to make space for something older, something forbidden. And the dreams, they're no longer yours alone. In your sleep, shadowy figures reach out, hands dripping with flickering static, voices chanting fragments of a language you almost remember but can't quite place. You wake gasping, heart thrumming, clutching the thin thread of sanity that tells you you're not losing it. You're finally beginning to see. There's a message waiting in the background of every photograph you thought you'd erased. A code, woven into the found footage from 20 years ago, footage they never meant for you to find. In grainy black and white clips, you glimpse a gathering in the woods, faces obscured but eyes burning with purpose, their murmurs barely audible over the crackle of the tape. They speak in riddles about the watcher and the cycle, phrases that cling to your mind like a warning you don't want but can't ignore. Somewhere deep inside, you know this isn't just a local tragedy or a haunted rumor. This is what the government never released, the dark underbelly of a truth too dangerous to tell, stitched into the fabric of your town's history and now bleeding into your life with increasing ferocity. The more you try to piece it together, the more it feels like the mystery is shaping you, bending your memories until you can't tell where you end, and the story begins. And then, there's the observer. Not Michael, not Tyler, not the girl whose eyes could freeze fire, but someone or something watching you, watching all of you, from a distance so close it feels invasive and intimate. This presence slips through the margins of your vision, a whisper on the edge of hearing, a shadow folding into shadows, never quite revealing itself but always there. Their perspective is fractured but eerily clear, a voice speaking truths nobody else dares to speak aloud. That identity is fluid, a cage built from memories stolen and rewritten, and that control is an illusion maintained by silence and fear. The observer watches as you and others spiral through shared confusion, tangled in dreams and symbols meant to bind you to a narrative not your own. They tell you, without saying so outright, that you were right all along to question, to doubt, to fear. The danger isn't just what you saw or heard. It's that your very self is caught in a web spun by forces older than you can imagine, forces that feed on the cracks in reality and the fissures in your mind. Every revelation pulls you deeper into a labyrinth with no clear exit, and the air grows heavier with dread. The faces in the crowd, the voices in the night, the messages hidden in plain sight, all converge into a signal you can't unhear, a frequency tuned just for you and the others who still remember. You begin to wonder if freedom was ever a choice, or just another layer of the design. As the story folds back on itself, as memories twist and betray, you realize this is no longer about finding answers. It's about surviving the questions that come after. And just as the screen flickers, as the night presses in, as the watcher's gaze settles on you, the only certainty left is that the story has only just begun, and that whatever comes next will demand everything you thought you knew about who you are and what it means to be free. There's a moment when everything you thought you knew collapses inward, like the floor giving way beneath your feet, but instead of falling, you find yourself suspended in a breathless stillness, staring straight into the heart of why it all happened. It's no longer about the missing boy or the vanished voices or the cryptic symbols that pulse beneath your skin. like a secret tattoo. The mystery is why this shadow was cast over you, over all of you who remember, and those who don't. Why? The fractures in your mind are reflections of something deeper, something achingly human. It's the unbearable weight of memory, how it shapes you, how it betrays you, and the terrible choice that comes with it, to keep running from what haunts you, or to stand still and face the truth that might break you, or maybe, finally, save you. You feel it crack open inside you, raw and aching. The confession you never dared speak, the one you buried beneath years of silence and fear. The truth that you weren't just a witness, you were part of the story, tangled in its web, just like the others. The guilt, the regret, the desperate hope that somehow, by uncovering this nightmare, you could rewrite the ending. But the harder you reach, the more you realize this isn't a story with an ending. It's an awakening, a terrifying, beautiful reckoning that strips away every mask, every comforting lie. You stand at the edge, knowing the choice is yours. To let the darkness consume you, or to step through it and embrace the unknown light that flickers just beyond the veil. It's not peace you find in this moment. It's clarity, the kind that shakes your bones and leaves your heart raw but undeniable. The shadows you feared aren't enemies. They're part of you, fragments of a humanity that is fragile, flawed, and desperately searching for meaning in the silence. And as the weight of everything settles, you realize that maybe the real mystery wasn't what happened, but what you're willing to carry forward. Because in the end, some truths aren't answers. They're beginnings. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for stories you were never meant to hear. Until next time, remember, some truths don't want to be found.